She made a promise and it is something that she has remained true to all of her life and will continue.
Although the royal family has always been the scene of covert power struggles and alliances, few events have completely encapsulated the intrigue like Duchess Sophie's recent attendance at the French State Banquet. In addition to drawing attention, Sophie's elegantly draped and dazzling aquamarine tiara sent a strong message around the halls of Buckingham Palace. This was more than a jewelry show. Queen Camilla watched from the sidelines, powerless to stop the daring alliance with Princess Catherine, the future queen. The monarchy has been negotiating the fine line between tradition and individual aspirations for many years. However, Sophie's decision to wear this specific piece, a convertible tiara with a focal aquamarine stone and a wavy diamond design, highlighted a more profound change. It brought to light the implicit hierarchy that Queen Elizabeth II had meticulously delineated prior to her death, highlighting the fact that individuals such as Princess Anne, Duchess Sophie, and Catherine have a stronger hold on the royal image than Camilla ever could. There was growing conjecture regarding internal dynamics as this event took place. Often regarded as the family's quiet workhorse, Sophie has gradually gained notoriety by accepting patronages and traveling abroad, which mirrors the late Queen's own commitment. It wasn't by coincidence that she wore the tiara, which is a personal favorite and worth over £1 million. It happened while Catherine was making a comeback to the public eye following health issues. Additionally, Sophie's support has been demonstrated through collaborative efforts and common goals. However, why this tiara? Why now too? The solution is found in the complex network of royal jewelry distribution, where loyalty and legacy are equally as important as rank in gaining access. As Queen Consort, Camilla has taken advantage of the vaults for her own moments of luxury. Her influence did not, however, extend to prescribing what people should dress. Sophie's decision emphasized that point clearly, demonstrating that those who uphold the monarchy's essential principles are the real power brokers, even in matters of glitz. The implications were as glittering as the dinner lights. Sophie's standing had already been raised by her 2023 promotion to Duchess of Edinburgh, which exempted her from customs such as bowing to lower-ranking royals. She now appeared to be asserting a visual stake in the destiny of the family with this tiara debut. Observers observed that the artwork represented adaptability, similar to Sophie's own function in bridging generations, thanks to its ingenious concealed trick that allows it to be transformed into a necklace. In the meantime, Camilla's lack of influence on the choice said a lot about her standing. Reminders for Camilla to understand her boundaries were apparently part of Queen Elizabeth's last wishes, which were whispered in the months leading up to her death in 2022. Jewels are more than just ornaments in a family. They are also signs of power. With her silent victory, Sophie solidified her alliance with Catherine and left the rest of the world wondering what would happen next. The royal who flourishes away from the spotlight has always been Duchess Sophie, then Sophie Rhys-Jones. Nonetheless, her impact has gradually expanded, resembling a vine encircling Windsor Castle's historic walls. She was raised in a middle-class household and married Prince Edward in 1999, bringing with her a public relations background that prepared her for the nuanced art of royal diplomacy. Sophie has changed over the years from a newbie navigating scandals to a stable figure who supports more than 70 charities and whose modest devotion is reminiscent of the late Queen. Her recent accomplishments, such as being the first royal to travel to Ukraine in 2024 to meet with President Zelensky, have solidified her reputation as a world ambassador and brought her recognition for her fortitude and humanity. Sophie's ability to combine tradition and modernity is what makes her unique. In contrast to the family's more flashy members, she has prioritized causes such as disability awareness and women's rights, frequently stepping in during crises without chasing attention. Her strategy has gained her the approval of Prince William, who is said to be in favor of her assuming important roles that further his goal of a simplified monarchy. There was more to Sophie's promotion to Duchess of Edinburgh than a simple title change. She was able to get beyond outmoded procedures and concentrate on important work because it was an acknowledgement of her accomplishments. She has discussed her involvement in interviews in a humble manner, highlighting her dedication to service and rejecting terms like secret weapon. Beneath this modesty, though, is a strategic mind that has brought her and Catherine closer together since they both value family and public service. Sophie's relationship with Catherine has been more apparent as she gets closer to her milestones. In contrast to the more formal dynamics found elsewhere in the family, joint appearances at occasions such as Trooping the Color and shared patronages emphasize a sisterly alliance. Mutual respect, not convenience, is the foundation of this cooperation. Sophie's ascent symbolizes a return to the fundamental values of duty without drama that Queen Elizabeth promoted. With her own experiences of joining the royal family as an outsider in a monarchy under investigation for relevance serving as the basis for her advice. Her decisions, which range from public appearances to patronage, gather strands from the family's past and weave them into a myth that fortifies the organization. However, the tension with people who perceive her as a challenge to established power structures increases along with her profile. The Aquamarine Tiara is key to this royal tale, a dress that Duchess Sophie wore to the French State Supper in July 2025 with effortless elegance, transforming a ceremonial occasion into a declaration of purpose. Crafted in a flowery design using diamonds and aquamarines, this tiara, which Sophie received as a personal gift and may be worn as a necklace for further versatility, is not part of the regular royal collection. When Sophie wore it with a sequined gown that evoked wedding beauty and made her position among the family's elite known, it was a stunning advancement in the eyes of royal watchers. Sophie's decision raised the diplomatic splendor of the Windsor Castle luncheon, evoking previous instances in which diamonds marked changes in power. Even though Sophie had worn tiaras before, this time it felt more distinct and pointed. She also demonstrated her access to sought-after items in September 2025 when she wore the lotus flower tiara to another function. These appearances gather data from the history of the royal vaults, where people representing loyalty and poise have worn tiaras like the aquamarine. Attendees were reminded of Sophie's expanding significance by her selection, particularly because she was given a new royal order by King Charles, signifying formal acknowledgement. With its concealed adjustment mechanisms, the tiara's design reflects Sophie's own versatility, enabling her to move confidently through royal life. The event's specifics provide a sense of well-planned elegance. Prince Edward and Sophie arrived. In a nod to common customs, she was seen complimenting Catherine, who wore the lover's not tiara. There was more to this than just fashion, according to whispers in the hallway. Sophie's choice of tiara highlighted her freedom from centralized control, forming a visible partnership. Royal reporters emphasized Sophie's earned standing by pointing out that such things are loaned or selected on the basis of merit, rather than just rank. One may observe how gems function as narrative devices in the development of this concept. Every jewel projects goals for the future while gathering tales of previous wearers. Sophie didn't have a brief moment. It marked a turning point in her development and established her as a major figure in the creation of the monarchy's reputation. Queen Camilla has never concealed her admiration for the royal jewelry collection, frequently choosing items for formal events such as the Queen Mother's diamond necklace or antique tiaras. However, Sophie's uncontested attire suggests that her power is restricted when it comes to the aquamarine tiara and related accessories. According to reports, Camilla had her eye on some convertible pieces because of their adaptability, but the monarch still has final say over distribution, with family members like William providing input. This dynamic highlights Camilla's position, which is access without total authority. Sophie's banquet attendance brought this truth home. As Sophie Shaw, Camilla was powerless to control the jewelry's assignment and could only watch the occurrence. The collection structure, which avoids using shared vaults for private objects like Sophie's tiara, is the source of this helplessness. Although Camilla's personal choices, like the problematic Koh-i-Noor options or the Burmese ruby tiara, have generated discussion, they don't go so far as to veto other people's choices. According to insiders, Camilla's job is more ceremonial and centered on her responsibilities, rather than overseeing the entire inventory. One draws inspiration for this story from historical precedents. In order to make sure that gems represented devotion rather than ambition, Queen Elizabeth carefully regulated disbursements. Layers are added by Camilla's history, which includes her rise from consort to queen. Sophie's independent access threatens her status, which is reinforced by her picks. As a result, the tiara event begins to represent more general constraints. Camilla's helply. According to reports, Queen Elizabeth II set forth explicit guidelines for the future of the monarchy prior to her passing in September 2022, including stern cautions for Camilla to be aware of her bounds. Although Camilla would be queen consort, her function should defer to blood royals like Princess Anne, Duchess Sophie, and the future Queen Catherine in matters of image and affairs. According to sources close to the palace, who say these remarks were spoken in secret sessions. Her 2022 Jubilee address, which endorsed Camilla's title with reservations, echoed this power dynamic, but did not explicitly proclaim it in public pronouncements. Based on insider stories and biographies, Elizabeth's worldview emphasizes stability while cautioning against overreach that can damage the organization. These quotes are drawn from Elizabeth's lifetime of experience navigating transitions and scandals. In order to maintain the importance of individuals like Sophie, whom she admired for her hard ethic, she saw Camilla's inclusion as both important and limited. Elizabeth's final approval counterbalances reports from sources like the Palace Papers that allude to her misgivings. As this concept is developed, it becomes clear how her remarks influence the dynamics. These boundaries are put to the test by Camilla's controversies, which range from her jewelry selections to public opinion. These echoes were brought back to life by Sophie's tiara moment, which demonstrated Elizabeth's framework in action. Legacy and bloodlines over consorts were fundamental to the late Queen's ideology. This is further supported by her purported instruction to Camilla to honor Anne, Sophie, and Catherine's more powerful contributions to the development of the royal image. Her insistence on influence based on merit is recalled by palace staff, and it is currently demonstrated at occasions like the feast. These rules remained in effect after Elizabeth's death. Rather, they remain, directing the family with subliminal cues such as Sophie's aggressive behavior. In the royal family, Princess Anne, Duchess Sophie, and Princess Catherine maintain a strong relationship. Each helps to create a more positive image than Camilla's more contentious role, and she symbolizes responsibility with her unwavering engagements and no-nonsense approach, frequently surpassing others in workload. This is enhanced by Sophie's sympathetic outreach, which includes taking on patronages such as Plan International UK that support Elizabeth's cherished causes. In order to appeal to younger generations, Catherine, the future queen, emphasizes early childhood and mental health. They garner support from public polls that place them highly because, taken together, they stand for continuity and relevance. Their interactions are in contrast to Camilla's, whose history as a latecomer raises questions. Although Anne and Camilla have a long history of respecting one another, power dynamics can cause conflict. Anne has an advantage because she is a blood royal. With William's approval, Sophie's expanding function places her in a bridge position, supporting Catherine in common occasions. The strength of this group is found in their shared story: Sophie's flexibility, Anne's perseverance, and Catherine's charm. They manage problems in royal affairs with poise, creating a resilient image through diplomatic missions and health crises. Although Camilla has made significant contributions, such as her literacy programs, her previous scandals have lessened their impact. Elizabeth's vision for the three is strengthened by their alignment, which is demonstrated by their united appearances. Their united efforts maintain the monarchy's attraction well beyond individual brilliance. This is not rivalry but hierarchy. The monarchy's power structure was exposed by the Tiara event, which showed how Queen Elizabeth's system restricts Camilla while boosting Anne, Sophie, and Catherine. Camilla does not have central authority over jewelry management, which is a sign of greater authority. Rather, it is dispersed according to merit and legacy. This is demonstrated by Sophie's access to both lent and personal items. Decisions that are in line with family consensus cannot be overridden by Camilla. This brings to mind Elizabeth's purported pre-death orders, which made sure consorts understood their limits while blood royals took the lead in establishing their reputation. In actuality, this implies that he manages military and equestrian matters independently. Catherine's methods for public participation and Sophie's international diplomacy. Although important, Camilla's position is more focused on assistance than legacy. Engagements are the source of palace dynamics. Their tougher stances are reflected in the trio's higher approval ratings. This change is emphasized by Sophie's elevation through tiara wear and new orders, demonstrating the limitations of Camilla's power. By limiting the concentration of authority, this division protects the monarchy. It is reminiscent of past models in which consorts offer advice without taking charge, enabling individuals such as Sophie to flourish. The incident wasn't unique. It was an example of long-lasting systems in which real power is exercised by people who uphold Elizabeth's principles. When Duchess Sophie wore the Aquamarine Tiara to the French state supper in July 2025, it was more than just a glamorous event. It was a lighthouse showing the way the monarchy was changing. The ramifications for the future of the royal family become more apparent as the echoes of that night fade, exposing a terrain molded by connections, legacy, and the precarious balance of power. Sophie's audacious alliance with Princess Catherine, supported by Princess Anne's tacit support, heralds a monarchy in flux, in which Queen Camilla's role, while important, is carefully limited by Queen Elizabeth II's long-term structure. This symbolic event foreshadows a more efficient institution, where Sophie, Catherine, and Anne take the lead in updating the crown's image for the contemporary age. Sophie's ascent, which included being named Duchess of Edinburgh in 2023, and her growing prominence portend a time when she will have much more responsibility. Catherine's goal of a relevant, influential monarchy is in line with her recent diplomatic initiatives, including her historic visit to Ukraine in 2024, which showcases her ability to exert worldwide influence. A strong axis is formed by their collaboration, which is demonstrated by common patronages such as women's empowerment and early childhood projects. This is not just a strategic alliance. It's a combination of common ideals, combining Catherine's visionary charm with Sophie's long-standing sensitivity. She anchors this trio with her unrivaled work ethic and no-nonsense approach, giving gravity derived from decades of service. Their combined appearances, from Trooping the Color to charity galas, garner public goodwill and reinforce their duties as curators of the royal image. Together, they represent Queen Elizabeth's concept of a monarchy upheld by blood royals who put duty before selfish interests. Despite being elevated by her title as Queen Consort, Camilla's status is subject to limitations that this event exposed. Elizabeth's pre-2022 directives to know her limitations and the family's consensus limit her authority, especially over symbolic assets like the jewelry collection. According to palace officials, Camilla is still focused on promoting King Charles III through public appearances and literacy projects. But her previous scandals surrounding her rise in jewelry selections, such as the Burmese ruby tiara, limit her power to control the conversation. This fact was highlighted by Sophie's tiara moment, which was sanctioned by individuals like as Prince William. It demonstrated that genuine authority is vested in people who take up Elizabeth's legacy of merit-based leadership. Although crucial, Camilla's role is one of cooperation rather than command. Additionally, her failure to influence Sophie's decision emphasized the limits Elizabeth established. The future course of the monarchy depends on these relationships. In keeping with the late Queen's adaptability, Sophie's increasing fame may result in her taking on more responsibilities, possibly in high-profile patronages or international diplomacy. Her relationship with Catherine, which was bolstered by their common struggles as outsiders who became insiders, points to joint ventures that might revolutionize royal outreach. Consider collaborative initiatives in fields where both excel, such as education or mental health. Stability is guaranteed by Anne's ongoing presence. Her yearly engagements of more than Femme 500 attest to her indispensable nature. However, there are still unknowns. Tensions may arise if Camilla tries to exert more control, possibly with Charles's support. However, the three of them work together as a counterbalance. In 2025 YouGov surveys, their combined approval ratings were constantly high, strengthening their position. This tiara episode was one chapter in a larger story, not a unique occurrence. It gathered elements from Elizabeth's reign and woven them into a story about adaptability and resiliency. A monarchy that can change without losing its foundation is indicated by Sophie's decision to shine alongside Catherine under Anne's watchful eye. The destiny of the family may depend on whether younger royals continue this line of duty, as James, Earl of Wessex, faces his own crossroads. Will others be motivated by Sophie's fame? Or will Lady Louise's attraction to independence win out? The world looks on in awe at a castle where stories are told by diamonds, destiny are shaped by alliances, and a new generation gets ready to inherit the throne. Time and possibly another spectacular show will unveil the next